Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us again for another episode of the Absolute Bookkeeping Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Elaine. Some of you might actually know who Elaine is already, because Elaine is one of the fabulous members of Ideal Schools. But I'd like to pass it over to you, Elaine. Can you introduce yourself, tell us a bit about yourself, and obviously what you do in our bookkeeping industry?
Yeah, sure. Lovely to be here, Natasha. Thanks for giving me the invite. So my name's Elaine Akker. I work for Ideal Schools, which are a dedicated bookkeeping distance learning training provider. I've worked for Ideal Schools for a number of years now. I do all things marketing, digital content, social media, and yeah, Ideal Schools are a bit of a unique training provider in the sense that we're not huge, but we are very much all about relationships and people. It's a family business, which was started by my father-in-law 42 years ago and still going strong. And he's all about individualized, tailored support for people who are training so that, you're not getting an automated response when you're putting in your assignments or your mocks or whatever. Nothing is done by a machine as such in terms of the marking. Obviously, we use tech to support everything that we do, but it is a person that marks your assignments, your mocks, and gives you feedback. So we're all about building those relationships and supporting people to change their lives and meet their career goals.
Brilliant. So how did your journey actually begin to become part of Ideal Schools? What made you want to help and support the new generation of bookkeepers out there?
So my own story is one that's not particularly started with bookkeeping or anything like that. So my husband Scott, whose father, as I said, my father-in-law started the company as a tutor at Ideal Schools. He's now the chairman since his dad's retired. And he was looking for cover on a Tuesday, just one day a week, to help answer the phones and that kind of thing. And I had been a teacher for years. I was a modern languages teacher for 24 years. So I've got an education background. I stopped working in 2020 to help care for my parents, took a career break. And a few years after that, was ready to go back to work. And Scott asked me if I would come in and help out. So what started as a one day a week, little bit of help answering the phones, I was very quickly, because I have got a marketing degree as well. Have you thought about, why aren't you, what about your, so it started off as quite a kind of straightforward idea, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And I absolutely love doing what I do now. I think because I know the people so well, the tutors are all on board with what we're doing, super friendly people. It's all about trying to get people to use education to transform their lives, which I'm passionate about, obviously being a teacher for 24 years. And I think working with adults is different. I'm really noticing that people are really inspiring the circumstances that people find themselves in and how they want to change them and how they want to improve their lives for themselves and their families.
No, that's brilliant. So if I could ask you to describe your relationship with technology in your business by just one word, what would that word be?
I could say tentative. I could say developing.
Yeah.
I could say improving. So I would say that I don't know if anybody else who is going to watch this podcast has got an education background, as in public sector schools, but you do get training in tech. But whether you then kind of run with it and keep going with it is very much down to you as an individual. So when I was teaching, I had to keep up to date with certain things, because by the time I stopped, we were using iPads. Every child in Glasgow was given an iPad by the council. So, tech was really a big part of what we were doing. But it very much the onus was on you as an individual professional to develop your use of tech. And so I would say that I've always had that kind of trial and error approach to it. I do research things before. I can't just try a million things. My brain doesn't work that way. So when I find things that I like, it's a case of really persevering with it. I usually can lack a little bit of confidence, I suppose, but I'm getting better, I think. And you just learn by doing, don't you? Every time you get it wrong, you learn something new.
And that's it. I think when you learn from mistakes, you learn far more quickly than you learn from the first go and getting it right. It seems to stick in your brain like, oh, I don't do it that way because I know this goes wrong. So you actually do it a different way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say it's very much learning by doing.
Yeah.
And as I've gradually got more confident, as I say, I mean, I started off with Canva and with CapCut and various things for social media. I've tried lots of different ones. I've used AI video editing. I just quite like to go back to doing it myself, I think. But it's trial and error. It's trial and error. And I sometimes will go to my daughters who are 16 and 13 and say, can you just show me how you would? And, they're so quick with like video editing and things like that on their phones that is always a bit of an eye-opener.
So let's talk about your favourite. What is the Apple software you simply could not sort of live without? What's the thing that helps you do your job?
So it's actually something that supports me to do my job. It's Spotify.
Okay.
So I absolutely love Spotify. I think it's a fantastic app. I'm hugely passionate about music. I'm a massive music fan. And I really like Spotify also for podcasts as well. So I walk a lot. I think because I worked in education for so many years, I was used to working in an environment where I was surrounded by people constantly. I like the energy of lots of people. I like the idea of lots of ideas coming at me. I like that kind of atmosphere that works for me. I get energy from that. So I think when I moved away from being around all those people all the time into this role, I find that is something that I miss. So I love when I get out for a walk in the morning, listening to a podcast. I love finding out about other people's business journeys, other people's goals and kind of career development. I also love listening to podcasts about well-being. I love listening to podcasts that are funny. The one that I'm really loving and making me laugh a lot just now is the Teen Commandments, which is Sarah Cox and our best friend from school. And they're talking about the reality of parenting teenagers. And it's just so reassuring that other people have the same conversations that I do. And it makes me laugh out loud. So if you ever, anybody who's in Scotland, if you ever see a woman walking about the park laughing to herself, that's probably what I'm listening to. So there's all of that side of it. I love the fact that you can share playlists with your friends.
Yeah.
I love the fact that as a family, if we're going on holiday and we're going to have a road trip, as part of it, we can build a playlist between us and put songs on it together. I like the AI aspect of it. The fact that it will actually give you really good recommendations for music that you don't know based on what you already listen to. And I've found some really great artists that way. So yeah, from my point of view, it gives me that energy that I miss from not being around lots and lots of people all the time. It gives me that contact with other ideas and music. And it's a kind of social thing as well.
Yeah. So is there anything you would change about Spotify? If you had a magic wand and you could just change one thing about it, would there be anything that you would actually change about the app? I mean, I'm a great fan of Spotify. I mean, my playlist is probably thousands of songs, and I love the fact that every time I play my Kaiser Chiefs, they put another extra song of Kaiser Chiefs in my playlist for me and things like that. But do you have a kind of like a magic wand? Is there something that you would actually want to fix about it or change about it?
There is a kind of shuffle feature which drives me slightly mad. That drives me slightly mad. And I'm sure there must be a way in the settings to turn it off, but I haven't figured it out yet. Sometimes the random shuffles are so random. And also, sometimes the recommendations for other things will take you down avenues that you haven't thought of before. And I do quite like that, but it doesn't get it right 100% of the time. But what AI can. So that's probably the only thing. I do really like the fact that I can download stuff and listen to it offline, like when I'm out walking, that kind of thing. I just find it's a way of getting ideas that I might miss otherwise. Like yesterday, I was walking in Pollock Park near me, and I was listening to Dr. Rangan Chatterjee interviewing Gabor Mate, and he was talking about the 5 regrets that people have at the end of life, and they were going through each one. It was a palliative care nurse that had written the book, and they were talking about each of those regrets and why people might have those regrets and how to avoid having those regrets. I think that kind of thing's absolutely fascinating. I really, really enjoyed listening to that. It might sound like quite a heavy topic for a walk in the park, but it keeps your brain going. I think that's what's good about it.
So let me talk a bit about the podcasting. You deal with lots of students who are just coming back into study from maybe not even studying for many years. Is there any podcasts that you kind of recommend that they would listen to, or the kind of things that they would look out on Spotify to listen to that kind of motivates them, kind of inspires them, kind of like work balance, kind of life things that you really personally feel that they're really good listening to?
So I love, I must plug Stephanie Marshall's podcast, The 3Bs, which is really good for specific stuff to do with bookkeeping and running a bookkeeping practice. Stephanie's one of our ambassadors and has been trained with us. And so I think hers is fantastic. Yeah, there's loads. Work-life balance is a tricky one. It's I think we get pulled in so many directions. So I like Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. I think he's very good. Jay Shetty, I think, is also really very good. I love just some of the fun ones that are a bit more get out of your own head. I'm talking about quite heavy stuff there. So things like Adam Buxton's podcast, I think is brilliant. I do enjoy things like Desert Island Discs and things like that as well. I was listening to Michael Sheen the other day talking about his journey and how he ended up moving back to Port Talbot. And I think just other people's stories are fascinating. So all of that I think is really good. In terms of work-life balance, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I mean, we're actually hoping to develop our own podcast at Ideal Schools. I'm trying to be inspired by people like yourself, Natasha, that have taken the bull by the horns and been brave and gone and got it done. So that's something that we will hopefully do in the new year. And it will start with just probably a lot of it at the beginning will be people that have trained with us, people's journeys. Where did they start? How did they train? What worked for them in terms of how they made it, happen, and then what was their end goal? What have they ended up doing, and are they happy with that? And I think also the fact that training and professional development never ends. The fact that everybody has to keep learning all the time. That's what we're talking about today. That's what I'm talking about with the tech. You're constantly learning something new every single day, aren't you? So hopefully that will be helpful and inspiring for people.
Yep, brilliant. I mean, for me, I like the Diary of the CEO. I think that's quite a larger podcast.
That's a great one. Yeah, I forgot about him. He's really good, isn't he?
I think the snippets of him, Stephen Bartlett, that really resonates with small businesses who are starting out. It's the fact that it's all balanced with him. He kind of always makes it you believe that you need to be number one in your business, and then everything falls into place. And I think that's a great podcast to listen to. I've listened to that a few times, and then I can listen to random things from podcasts to audiobooks on Spotify and things like that. I mean, my son was always laughing every time he gets in the car with me. I've always got War of the Worlds being read out to me. I absolutely love that classic book. It's just unbelievable. But it's things like that that help us unwind, help us kind of have that time out and to reflect that where we can use it to either use it for benefit for CPD, or actually that personal time where you do just need to disconnect, recharge your batteries, and kind of have the refill of the glass, so to speak. I totally get that.
I think it's really important.
It is. Apart from that, what are your 3 other top apps in your tech stack that you like to go to?
Okay, so I've mentioned Canva. I use Canva every day. I use ChatGPT every day. I use CapCut. I think I use every day as well. And then I use my social media posts and my scheduling. Meta. I use every day. I use LinkedIn every day. There's quite a few just to kind of keep things ticking along that I use on a daily basis. I think Canva's getting better and better. I'm enjoying how they're developing it and how it's growing. As I said, I used an AI editing software called Get Munch. It was a paid app, and I quite liked it at the beginning because you could record a whole interview with somebody and then it would edit it down for you. And I know there's loads of other apps that do that, but it kind of got quite glitchy. So I came out of that, and now I'm probably, I think I do use ChatGPT a lot, I have to admit. I don't use it when I'm writing so much, I use it for ideas. I use it almost like a PA, I suppose, like a virtual assistant. And I've got it to the point I've been training it.
Yep.
So every now and again, I'll say to it, do you think that sounds authentically like my voice? And it will say, oh, no, that's right, you're from Glasgow and maybe you would be more direct, or you might see it this way or whatever. So it is definitely learning with me, and it's growing with me. But I use it for lots and lots and lots of ideas. You know, like if you've got an idea for like a graphic video post for social media or something, and you've written what you want to say, and you've got your graphics, and you've got what you're going to put on in terms of the music and all of that, and you just want that last kind of the last frame that people see to be quite powerful. Or sometimes it's the hook at the beginning of the post. I think ChatGPT is really quite good for that. It can cut through. It's such a lot of work otherwise.
It is.
So it's making everything that we're doing just that little bit easier. So I use it quite a lot as well.
Yeah, it is. It's fabulous. So how often do you review the tools that you use, your tech stack? Do you kind of review them when you have an issue, or do you review them periodically and have a look what's out there to see if you can find a better tool for you for the circumstance you need it?
Right. So I would say it's probably definitely not organised at all. It's when I have an issue, or it's when I want to do something and I don't have any tech to help me do it, or I don't know what tech to use.
Yeah.
And it tends to be recommendations and conversations with people. If I know somebody who's already doing something that I want to be able to do, I'll get in touch with that person and say, can you advise me, or what are the pros and cons, or why have you chosen that one over another one? And I've got like a small number of people that I really trust on that type of stuff. And if it's working for them, that's good enough for me. I'm probably a bit of a late adopter rather than an early one, to be honest, with tech. But I think it's important to try and embrace change and keep up to date with stuff. But yeah, for me, as I said earlier, I'm a bit of a people person. So it's all about people and what people have got to say to me, and what people's ideas are. So I would do it that way. But yeah, I should probably think about reviewing it in a slightly more organised way.
What is your advice out to all the bookkeepers out there who go to all of these fabulous conferences, shows and everything, but they get very overwhelmed with all the software choices out there? What key advice would you give them?
I think it's about being really, really clear about what you want it to do.
Yeah.
I think it's not about browsing what all the software is and finding out about all the software in that way. Don't see yourself as like a captive market for it. I think you have to think about what is it that you have a gap for? What is the issue that you're trying to resolve? And then try to find out which one will meet your needs better. Talk to other people at these events. Go to the talks. Go around the stands. If you narrow it down to 2 or 3 different apps or pieces of software that you're considering, go and speak to the people at those stands and explain to them what it is you actually want it to do, and ask them to be honest with you about whether it's going to meet those needs. But I don't think you can really beat other people's experience. You know, if people are using software already and they have problems with it and they know the customer service is really, really good, listen to them. I think you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I think, all of the ICB networks are there to support you. You've got your ICB branch meetings. You've got things like the ICB Summit. Make contact with other people. Talk to people. But be really clear in advance what problem or issue you want the software to solve. I think that's crucial.
Perfect. Now we're going to the quick fire round. So iPhone or Android?
Android.
Xero, QuickBooks or Sage?
Xero.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What is the one piece of tech or business wisdom you wish you'd learned from the start rather than later in life?
Oh, that's really hard.
Sorry.
Don't overcomplicate it. I think don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. Make it work for you. Don't let you're riding it. It's the horse and you're riding it, not the other way around. I would say try and take charge of it. Try and not let it overwhelm you.
Fabulous. My final question for you today, Elaine, is what app do you think is underrated and deserves a little bit more love?
Oh, that's a tricky one. What app is underrated and deserves a bit more love? Can I look at my phone for inspiration?
You can, yeah, by all means.
Oh, I know. I tell you what was really, really good that I had totally forgotten all about.
Yeah.
There was, and I don't even know if I've still got it on my screen. I'm just looking for it to see if I can find it. I can't actually, and I don't remember the name of it, so that's really helpful. What a great answer. There was an app at Accountex, which meant that because you know in Accountex you're in that huge space in Manchester, and it's there's the 4 theatres in the corners, and there's people talking on stage all the time, and it's really buzzy with all the stands and everything. So there's an app that you could use to link your own. You could link your own earphones to what was being said on the stage, so you could cut out all that background noise. I thought that was fantastic. I
think it was Olyusei. Olyusei, Olyusei. I think that was it.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and
that sounds right.
And they've used it ever since. And for that, it's kind of like you're not being distracted by anything. You're actually embracing what the speaker is actually prepared and talking to you from. So,
it really locks you in. Yeah, agreed. I thought that was really, really good for that type of atmosphere.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's fantastic. So thank you very much for being a guest today. Obviously, we'll all look out for when Ideal Schools release their own podcast, which obviously Elaine is going to present and get out there. And thank you very much for being a fabulous guest today.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope I've not been too much of a dinosaur.
No,
and given the game away.
No, it's been perfect. So thank you, everybody.